nearly a week after the rejection of the draft constitution by the National Assembly. The Constitutional Review Commission (CRC) has held its first press conference since the rejection of the draft on the 22nd September 2020. The CRC was established by Act of Parliament in June 2018 with a task to review and analyze the current constitution, draft a new constitution for the Republic of the Gambia, and prepare a report in relation to the new constitution. Now, following a series of consultation with Gambians, home and abroad, as to the manner in which they wish to be governed in the new constitution, it was later presented to the President in March 2020 before its subsequent tabling at the National Assembly, where it was rejected by 23 members of the 54 votes. All right, and now, of course, we should be joined on the line from South Africa by, of course, Jagan Great Johnson, but who is a co-founder of the Right to Know, one of the leading civil society organizations in the country. But first, we will link to or talk to our very own Julde Jaiswar. He is at the South Karaba Jaras Conference Center, where the press conference is taking place. Julde, thank you very much for joining us. And what is the mood like on the ground? Yes, Julde, if you can hear me, I was just asking, what is the mood like on the ground ahead of the press conference today? Yes, Julde, can you hear me? I was asking, what is the mood like on the ground? If you can hear me, Julde. waaw dafa mel ni dañoo ñëwaat ci loolu léegi MC quickly def CRC bi ñu ngi war a pause def press conference léegi nii depuis bu ñu fi yegsee kenn déggul ñu wax ci tey lan lañ war a seetlu xam naa ne nekk ni cool yi bari na nga fa ne gars yi war nañu nekk ci presse
waaw ñoom sax tey ñi fa war lu xam nga ay kilifa fa nekkoon ñu xam ne ñu bari amoon nañu yaakaar si ñoom tey soo xoolee si léegi député yi am na ay tuumal yi nga xam ne député yi tuumal nañ leen ko si affaire draft constitution bi ne ay prade la dañ ko jëlee si yeneen dëkka ñëw isul ko Gambien si so foog naa ne bii na baax pour ñoom tam ñu leeral seen boppa because tam tuumal tam lu si gën a am solo mooy nga seetal sa boppa because tam bu ñu jëlee gars yi def leen ay commission si ñu bëri amu nañ yaakaar si ñoom tey suñu war a teew gis léegi député yi ñu am sama député si nga xam ne ñu ngi taxaw di wax lu nga xam ne si ñoom lu nga xam ne lu wax dëgg yàlla foog tam ñoom tam ay borom famille ay borom njaboot leen te itam nga liggéey ba toolu foon toolu itam ñu jël ay tuumal xam sa kaw baax na pour nga leeral sa bopp bu baax a baax so foog naa wax li nga xam ne tey moo tax even di CRC ak bi dafa jox di naka di commission membres yi keroog si léegi député yi gisuma fa gars yi waroon na mën a ñëw am na question bëri nga xam ne ñoom ñoo ko mën a leeral foofu wala ministre bi gan la yu bëri tey fekk ko fa woon waaw soo yooyu itam dina baax ñun tam ñu tey ñu leeral seen bopp tam xëy na amoon na di opportunité or di chance at di assembly pour mën a leeral seen bopp so tey fi mu nekk nii ñoom tey ne expect ñun tam lu tuumal si nga xam ne tegoon nañ ko seen kaw lii pirate la fii lañ ko jëlee nangam yooyu tey leeral ko askan bi
waaw because ñu bëri tam ñu ngi wax ne sax xëy na war nañu
xoolaat gars yi seen biir si affaire xaalis bi gis affaire xaalis yooyu yëpp war na
est-ce que jàpp nga ne loolu dafa war a am MC
waaw am nga comme laay député ni ngi wax ne ñu fa ñu xool gars yi xaalis bu gars yi dugal si naka lañ ko dugalee fan lañ ko dugal yooyu tam mu am transparence tam ñu jaar la ko yoon isi seen account ne lii fii leen ko jaaral nii leen spend from dee askan bi xam mu transparent mu leer bu ko ñun tam ay kilifa leen wax dëgg yàlla ñu bëri am nañ si ay nomba tànk si réew mi fii te su nga jël ay tuumal teg ko si ñoom seen boppa yi tam fu ñu jaar jëm ko leeral so saytaan tam ñun tam amoon ay account ñoo xam ne ñoo fa nekkoon ay trésors from there ñu bi nañ si breakdown si Gambien si mu leer si buti Gambien si fii leen jaar fii leen spend and every day ñu move as a Gambian and one family
ndax foog nga ne tey ñoom dañoo feel ne like li taxoon ñu jox leen responsibilité boobu def nañ ko waaye dafa mel ni xeebaate am na ci diggante bi ak tamit ñu kaddu yu ñu dégg ci diggante bi ak yu mel noonu ndax fooguloo ne dañ loolu yëpp tey mën nañ koo fi sal ci presque wax ñoom tamit lan lañ yéeg after all nu ñu leen gisee ak yu ñu leen wax dafa mel ni yenn yi sax am na ñu wax yenn kaddu yi nga xamante ne buñ ko déggee dañoo wax ne waaw kon lan moo taxoon sax ñu jox ñu
non dafa métti trop dafa métti parce que am na kaddu yi nga xam ne dafa génn si léegi député yi wax yi nga xam ne ñu ngi ko doon wax gars yi wax di yàlla dafa métti ay tuumal yi nga xam ne wax di yooyu il faut que ñoom ñu leeral ko il faut que ñu leeral ko bu ko tam ñoom seen ndam la woon tam li mu dem référendum mu jàll boobu seen ndam rëy la léegi si bëgg bi la mu nekk rek ñu ne jamono sangam draft ko ta république bi ñun draft ko ñoo ko bina ay doomi réew bi ñoo ko bina du sangam loolu mu du saa génn du saa faru te ñoom seen bii daal dafa bon si ñoom bii moom mi dafa garaaw bu ko sewal yéen a ko bina mënut a jàll féel na eegu si Gambie ni sax mu féel so dam boobu tam si anoda naka baat naka daga image la si ñoom war na waaw baat la si la si ñoom war na mën a ñëwaat tam leral ko baatam wan ne ñoom seen position bëggoon ne mu jàlla mu egga fii nii ak nii tam tuumali mag am seen kaw mu nga xam ne ñoom dañ ko war a leeral bu baax
exact léegi ñoom tamit seen taxawaay si doxaleen bi process bi ñu bari ñu ngay jàpp ne tamit Gambien si kaddu yi ñu wax gisuñ ko ci draft bi xëy na lépp mënu faa nekk waaye yenn consent yi wala yenn bugga yi ak yu Gambien si ñu buggoon because ñu wax ne aspiration ak yéene ak bugga Gambien si lañ bugga ñu leen bugga ñu govern leen loolu la lañ war a dugal ci draft bi ñu bari jàpp ne loolu des na am na li nga xamante ne wax nañ ko ci Kenyan constitution bi lañ ko jëlee liggéey bi xalu ndaa des dañ leen jox lépp li nga xamante dañ ko soxla jox leen xaalis jox leen mobility ak lu leen soxla daal ñu def seen liggéey comme ni leen yaakaaree ñu doxale waaye ñu jàpp ne ñoom lu bari ci biti lañ ko jëlee dugal ko ci book bi leneen gis 1997 constitution bi ci lañ ko jëlee ñu bàyyi ko fa wax ne loolu baax na ñu maintain ko so loolu dafa mel ni ñoom lu ñu xalaat defar ko ci ñu bariwul loolu tamit ak xaalis buñ ci dugal lépp est-ce que loolu tamit
waaw moo tax ma ne tey nit Gambien si ne am di opportunité ak ñëpp pour yëpp mu leer jamono si ñoo war a def seen liggéey bu baax comme laajte yooyu laajte nii mu leer si buti askan tam nekku ne wax ret wala ici evidence tegal ko Gambien si bu ko dégg ngóor kono bu nekk each constitution bu nekk dem leen fa waxtaan ak Gambien si laaj leen la ngeen foog ne moo war nekk si draft constitution bi Gambien si wax si lii leen bëgg a nekk lépp comme wax nga ko fi sa wax yëpp mënu faa nekk il faut tam xam nga dafa am loo xam ne dafa xew gis nga mun loo draft ak constitution bu réew tey doo xool si yeneen dëkk lu gën a am solo mooy contexte bi mu gën a am solo waaw wala ñu bëri ñu foog ne xam nga da nga war a ñu da nga bind bugg bi ret bu ko soo xoolee de 97 constitution bi ñu ngi laa wax ne some of the provisions yu bëri dañ ko jël from Ghana am na ñu wax loolu even di degree bi nga xam ne ñu ko doon from Ghana lañ ko jëlee so da ngaa xool even 97 constitution bu Jawara am na ñoo dañ ko jëlee from Jamaica foo lañ jël some of di naka provisions yi mun ko faa dugal doo mën a ñëw bind dara rek mu em si yow bu ko da ngaa ne Gambia global war la nekka so il faut ñu xool yeneen dëkk yi tam ñu doxalee mbir bi
dafa mel ni tamit am na ñuy wax ne ñoom daal gannaaw bu ñëpp amee yéene ak tamit bugga pour ñu am constitution bu bees ñu sas leen waaye ñoom buñ dooree ci doxaleen bi dafa mel ni am na ñu doon sooraale ci liggéey bi moo tax mu demee nii xëy na bugga elboo ñeneen ñi bugga sooraale ñi pour ñu mun a est-ce que yow gis nga yooyu ci liggéey bi ak tamit yow daal loolu tamit waxi politique la
non man gisuma ne which one dafa nekk gisuma loolu ne xëy na dañ ko liggéey pour not kii pour jox kii di opportunité gisuma loolu because tey coow bi yëpp fu mu nekk mooy di time limit and time limit bi Gambien si la ngay laajte lan na ngeen bëgg seen président réew
waaye loolu bokk na ci waaw bokk na ci conscience yi waaye nekkul time limit bi rek
time limit mooy loolu even di cabinet soo gisee cabinet bi ñuy jooy di complain ñaari mbir la rek time limit bi la xëy na ak diaspora voting bi yooyu itam gars yi
ok ñu dellusiwaat foog naa ne léegi yëfi yomb na ñu dellusiwaat foofu ci Sir Dawda Kairaba Centre ñu jokkoo ak suñ ndaw bu fa nekk di Julde Njie Soirée Julde, good morning and well, once again thank you for joining us to tell us about the mood on the ground ahead of today's this morning's press conference called by the CRC, that's the Constitutional Review Commission.
Good morning, Amadou. Thank you so much. Here at the Sir Kairaba International Center here, the mood on the ground is relatively very, very calm here. Not much is going on here. I can only spot few members from the Constitutional Review Commission and media practitioners setting up ahead of the press conference.
All right. You talked about people around, members of the commission. Are all the members on the ground? And of course, did you spot any government officials also, maybe from the Ministry of Justice?
No, Amadou, I only see the communication officer from the Constitutional Review Commission, Seni MK Marina, who was here a while ago, and of course, few members from the CRC, but there is no government official as at now. Only few media houses, media practitioners that are here at the Kairaba Center here.
All right, now stay on the line, Julde. I think we should be also going to South Africa and link to, of course, Jagan Johnson. Mr. Johnson, if you can hear me, good morning and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good. Now, what are you expecting in today's CRC press conference after the rejection of the draft bill by the National Assembly?
Well, I mean, I think, none of us really know what the Constitutional Review Commission, particularly the commissioners, are going to say. But what I would say, certainly, that what we would expect to hear from them is nothing short of, putting squarely and fairly on the table the fact that I think, we have certainly, as civil society, particularly the right to know. Recognize the stellar work that they've done. And we also recognize the fact that this was a major opportunity that only comes around once in a lifetime, where a country is given an opportunity to draft its own aspirational documents vis-a-vis as is reflected in a constitution, and also projects a way forward as to how they wish to be governed. And clearly, I think the CRC did an excellent job. But unfortunately, what we have found certainly last week is that certain National Assembly members, 23 of them to be precise, decided to put self-interest above the national interest.
All right. Now, as a civil society organization member, of course, you were looking forward to, a new constitution, like you have just said. But then, of course, it's after the disappointment. Today, we are talking about the CRC coming out and to talk to Gambians. Do you think they would give our responses to some of the concerns raised by some of the members that did not support the draft constitution, alleging that mismanagement of funds and here and there? Do you think we can hear some clear responses from the commission today?
Well, as I said, I'm not in their heads and I'm not a member of the commission, but I think by deductive reasoning, logic dictates that they will have to speak to some of these things. But let me just say just a few things that I think we need to be extremely mindful of, and we also need to internalize and admit. The first thing is that the defeat of this promulgation bill 2020 certainly, again, did not happen in a vacuum, because of the fact that before this thing was tabled at the National Assembly, we saw how certain members and advisors, precisely from the Office of the President, denigrated Constitutional Review Commissioners themselves, denigrated the process, and made some allegations and claims that were not founded anywhere. And there's absolutely no evidence of that. That's the first thing. The second thing is also, I think Gambians need to realize that the same National Assembly members were the ones that passed the Constitutional Review Act in 2017. It was also the same president, President Adama Barrow, that assented to the act that triggered the constitutional review process. And then even within that period, over 18 months, $116 million is down the line, 198 submissions done in 2 rounds. During the entire period, nobody complained, nobody said anything, and people had an opportunity to make some meaningful contribution towards this particular process. So I think the question is, why the change of heart now? That's the first thing. And then secondly, can the country and do the National Assembly members, the 23 of them at least, understand the predicament that they have placed us now? The repercussions are great, especially going into 2021, which is going to probably be the most contested, fiercely contested, most critical political period in this country's history.
Okay. Now, Mr. Johnson, again, of course, I know expectations were very high, but of course, finally the rejection has happened. As we speak, on your personal view, what do you think should be the way out? Is there I mean, if there's any, as should be as what should be the way forward in regards to our Gambians' aspirations and all that for a new Gambia and all that.
I mean, there are no two ways about this. You know, it's a no-brainer. For me, you know, the objective of the exercise was to give Gambians an opportunity to decide how they wish to be governed, whether to accept this particular CRC draft or to reject it through a public, transparent process, which is a referendum, and that was the expectation. So for me, and not only myself, but others, because there's a letter actually, incidentally, I'm glad you asked me this question. There's a letter that'll be coming out later on today, probably in the next couple of hours, that is actually addressing precisely this particular question as to what's next. And in that letter, which is signed by, a plethora of civil society organizations, both in and outside of the country, we are urging President Adama Barrow to do the right thing and actually resubmit this bill with the intention and also the political will that he has to demonstrate to say at the end of the day, it is not good enough for 23 MPs to decide the fate of 2 million Gambians, but it's actually those 2 million Gambians themselves that should be given the opportunity to decide their own fate through a direct ballot in the form of a referendum. All
right. Thank you very much for your time. It was good to have you on the lines.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Julde, of course, coming back to you now, are there any signs of indication that the press conference would start anytime soon?
Amadou, here there is no sign that the press conference will start soon because the top brass from the Constitutional Review Commission are nowhere to be seen. As it now is only few members that are coming, like I said earlier, and of course, media practitioners who are setting up ahead of the much-awaited press conference about the rejection of the draft bill 2020.
Yeah, we were told that the press conference was supposed to start by 9 o'clock. I hope it's not going to be the Gambian time thing. As always, we used to say, again, you know, coming back to the press conference, I know Gambians would be looking forward to today's briefing from the members. On a journalistic point of view, what do you expect from the members of the CRC?
Well, Amadou, because this is really a much-awaited press conference from Gambians since the rejection of the draft constitution on the 22nd of this month, 2020, by the National Assembly members. Gambians from all walks of life have been coming up and then sharing their views as to what they really think of the process. And the political party leaders are not an exception to this. They've been coming forward to really say how they really feel about this draft constitution, and they really feel disappointed about this whole process because they feel that the Gambia is going back to the 22-year rule of dictatorship. But in a journalistic point of view, I really think that what we are expecting today for the CHC to say is their stance on the whole issue. Of course, we heard from the civil society organization about what they feel about this thing. We heard from the political party leaders. We heard from Gambians about the rejection of the draft constitution and, of course, the waste of the $116 million in this process. As you know, the Constitutional Review Commission have gone through a thorough consultation, you know, in the Gambia, both in the Gambia and, of course, Gambians in the diaspora. But the rejection of the draft constitution came as a big blow for both Gambians here and, of course, abroad. And what we are expecting today in today's press conference is for the CRC to tell Gambians what their stance are after the whole process, after spending $116 million in a draft bill, after going through thorough consultation with Gambians here and, of course, abroad. And, of course, what is next? We're expecting the CRC to tell us what is next here now that the draft constitution has been rejected and Gambians are forced to go back to the 1997 constitution. What is next for the Gambia? And why do they really think that on their own side of the view, why do they think that the draft constitution was rejected by the parliamentarians? Is it because of plagiarism or is it because of the retirement benefits that is attached to the judiciary, like most of the National Assembly members said, or is it because of the term limit of the presidency? So we are expecting the Constitutional Review Commission members to make this clarification today and make their stance known to the Gambian people.
All right, and you just, say you keep patience for a while as you wait for the start of the press conference. Hopefully we'll get back to you before the end of this, edition, and then we'll see what's the latest. But for now, Julden Jai Suare, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, before you go, Amadou,
Okay.
I am joined here by Yusuf Taylor,
Okay.
commonly known as Flex Dan.
Excellent.
He's a
Good.
civil society organization member, and of course, he has been advocating for the passage of this draft bill 2020. Good morning, Mr.
Good morning. Thank you to all your listeners and your viewers. Like you said, we have been advocating for the draft constitution through civil society work and also through the media as Gainako Online News editor. I've been writing, we've been doing radio programs, we've been doing TV programs, and as Tim Gomsabopa, I'm the spokesperson of that civil society organization. We've run different campaigns, one of them with the CRC, which was called Get Involved. You might see it all across the country. Get Involved was just advocating for people to have more of a say in what they wanted in the draft constitution, which is what I feel that we had at the end of the day. So how we did that, we had concerts, we had caravan tours, and so in different localities, about 3 different areas in the country. So we had caravan, and then we had concert music, because we use artist music. So young people can actually get involved into it, and so that's what we've done so far. And unfortunately, it's come to an end.
Like you said, it has come to an end, and as a result, the Constitutional Review Commission members are to hold a press conference today to tell Gambians about their stance on this whole issue. As you know, since the rejection of the draft bill, politicians, civil society organizations, and members of the Gambia have been all coming out to say their stance in this. What do you really think Gambians position is today?
I think at least they should tell us what is the next step for the CRC. Because the CRC, obviously, they may say they are going to stop. Obviously, they must be discussing with the executive, Justice Department at least, Justice Ministry, and they should be discussing with them. We are expecting that. Whether they are going to look to bring a revised bill or a revised constitution that they can build through Gazette again, or they are just going to seize the whole, it's come to an end, that's it, their job has stopped, and it's an end. So we are expecting that today when we leave this press conference, we will get some sense of what is the next step forward. Is this the end of the road for CRC, or are they continuing at least?
But for you as a civil society organization, what will you really anticipate to happen today, especially now that the draft constitution is gone, and like you said, maybe it will be revised, but none of us know about that for now. So what do you really expect, and what do you hope that will really happen today?
Looking at the whole issue, now I'm commenting as just a private citizen or a civil society advocate. With vested interest in the Constitution. Certainly, what I am looking to see is that I don't think that the CRC can continue working with the executive on Constitution building. Why is because of we've seen that the executive has almost undermined the whole Constitution, with some of the utterances with regards to the term limit and the way that they almost made sure that all the NPP-affiliated National Assembly members, that is, those who are within that whole block for the executive, voted no. And that is a message. I think this means that definitely the relationship between the CRC and the executive, I don't think they can continue working together. Because of why would you spend 2-3 years working on a draft constitution, and then when you finish doing that, those people who have asked you to do that job, paid you to do that job, are the ones who have voted against it. So I think, personally, this is just a personal view, like I said, I don't think they can continue. I think the only thing that can maybe make sense, in my view, they take what the CRC has given them, and then they look at it and see how they can implement, at least some of them, incorporate it into a bill, together with some of the concerns, and maybe progress. Because certainly it doesn't seem like the CRC has the backing of the executive.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Amadou, that is Yusuf Taylor, there, a civil society organization member, and of course he holds the belief that it is, even if that is what the CRC is saying, it's not really a good idea for the CRC members to work with the executive because they have already been undermined by the executive. Amadou.
All right, thank you very much, Juldenjai.